Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday to you all, whether you're in school or at home this week. I hope you're having a really, really good week. If you're at home, I hope you're really enjoying your online lessons. I'm amazed at how good they are and how brilliant you are when you're on them, joining in and answering questions. And if you're in school, I hope you're enjoying your lessons as well this week. Had a lot of lovely feedback about my Diwali assemblies yesterday. So we're going to stay in India for a couple of days, and I'm going to share a couple of stories which are set in India, just to continue with that kind of flavour. And one thing I realised when I looked at this book again is that I might have given you the impression that India, when I showed you this picture, was an island, because it looks like it's just on its own in the middle of the sea. It's not an island. I'll show you on the globe in a moment, but India is actually, this bit is the ocean down here, but because this is just showing India, the shape of India as a whole, what it doesn't show you is that up above here, that continues as land. This is all land, and this is all land. And just to give you an idea, there's India, and then up here, just continuing on from India, this is China here. China's next to India on this side, and next to India on this side is Pakistan. So just to give you an idea, India is not an island. Round its tip, it's surrounded by water, but it is joined to other big pieces of land up here. And you can see more clearly, if I can get this to show you. Oh, it's very strange working in reverse. Let me find where we need to be on our map of the world. It's Australia. There we go. Okay, so there's Britain there. There's the UK. Don't know if you can just see that. Ooh, we're pink on there. And then if we go round here, India is here, just here. So you can see there what I've just shown you on the map. There's China, look, joined onto India. There's Pakistan, just next to India. And there's the ocean around the very tip of India there. So India's part of a very, very, very big landmass, which you can see there, and part of the continent of Asia. Okay, so today's story comes from a part of India, part of northern India called Bengal. And I'll just go back to this map to show you where it is. I've just put a little dot for me to remember. So right at the northern tip of India, today's story is called Jamil's Clever Cat, all the way from Bengal in India. And my little question to you this morning is, does this story remind you of another story? Jamil's Clever Cat, a folk tale from Bengal. So a folk tale means that people in the towns and cities and villages of Bengal have been telling this story for years and years and years. Jamil's Clever Cat. Jamil was a weaver. So a weaver children is somebody, particularly younger children, who makes things on a loom out of thread, different kinds of thread to make into materials to make clothing often from. And he was poor. He lived on the poor side of town. He had a cat called Saddle, who was a very clever cat. Each night, while Jamil was asleep, Saddle the cat wove material for his master to make into tunics and saris. So there's Jamil fast asleep, and whilst he's asleep, there's Saddle, the clever cat, busy away at the loom, making beautiful materials for lovely clothes that people would probably want to buy and wear when it was Diwali. One morning, Jamil sighed and said, "Oh, Saddle, if only I could marry the princess who lives in the palace. Then you and I would not have to work our fingers and paws to the bone, and I would be a very happy man." Not so sure about that, Jamil. We've read lots of stories where we've found out that riches don't make you happy, but maybe in this story they will. So there's Jamil having the conversation with his very clever cat, so clever that he can think and speak, can Saddle. Saddle thought for a moment. Then he said, "Give me your best waistcoat and the most beautiful sari we have made, master, and I will make your dream come true." Saddle leapt silently over the roofs of the cities of Bengal, carrying the sari and the waistcoat on his back. Looking down, he saw the princess in the palace garden. There we go there. Do you know what I might do? I might ask Mrs. Jennings, who's been to India. She spent some lovely time visiting friends in India. I think she's actually got a sari at her house. So a sari is a piece of clothing that's made out of one long piece of exquisitely made and embroidered material. I think Mrs. Jennings is pink, but I'll have to ask her. I'll ask her when I finish my assembly. I think that's the princess. Putting on the waistcoat, Saddle sauntered into the garden and bowed low, spreading out the sari. "Oh, how beautiful!" exclaimed the princess. Saddle bowed even lower. "My master is the richest man in the world," he said. "This is just a small token of his esteem for you." Have a look. The most beautiful sari that they've woven. And the princess, of course, maybe would think Jamil was richer than he actually is. The princess was so flattered she took Saddle to meet her parents. "Oh, such a generous gift," said the Rajah. "Would your master like to marry my daughter?" I think she would do very nicely, meow," answered Saddle, and taking his leave he went back to Jamil the weaver. So he's tricked the Rajah, the king, and the princess into thinking that his master is rich. "We'll be rich," purred the cat. "The princess is eager to marry you. We must make you the finest wedding clothes ever seen." They worked all night and all day and all the next night and the next day too. When Jamil tried on the clothes, he looked like a prince. Then Saddle invited some guests to the wedding. So there they are, working day and night to make some fine wedding clothes so that no one will guess that Jamil was really a poor weaver. He went out into the forest and gathered a wild chorus of creatures, a roaring of tigers, a chattering of monkeys, a trumpeting of elephants. What a noise they made on their way to the palace. And these are all animals, children, that live in India, tigers and monkeys and elephants. So he's gathered them all together as Saddle the cat. What's he going to do with those? How's that going to help in this trick? Let's see. Just show that picture of monkeys again because it makes me smile. There we go. I wonder. The animals hid among the trees in the palace garden, and the Rajah thought the noise was coming from 1,000 people. "We would be most honoured to meet the prince," the Rajah said, "but we have no room for all his retinue." So Jamil and his cat went into the palace alone. So that was part of the trick. Getting all the animals to make lots of noise made the king, the Rajah, think that he had lots and lots of people with him, servants and people to attend to his every need. The next day, that was Mrs. Jennings at the door. I was just going to ask her to come in and I could ask her about her sari. Next day, Jamil married the princess. He looked so rich and handsome, but in truth, he was still Jamil the weaver. At their wedding feast, he looked up at the ceiling and said, "What a great place to build a loom. Those beams are just right." "How strange," thought the princess. "He seems to know more about weaving than ruling the country." Saddle said, "We must go. It is time for my master to welcome you to his house." Oh, what's he going to do now? He's got to take her to the poor weaver's cottage. I think she's already wondering if he's the man that she thought he was. Let's see. When the princess saw her new home and Jamil confessed who he really was, she was shocked, but not for long. She loved Jamil the weaver just as much as Jamil the prince. And so she became a weaver's wife. She was good at weaving too. After some practice, at the market, everybody wanted to buy her beautiful cloth. So there you go. In the end, it didn't matter at all. And they loved each other just the way that they are, the way that they were. Soon she could afford to hire helpers, and she and Jamil became rich. They built a fine new house, and other weavers built homes around them. They all worked on the best looms money could buy. There's all the weavers weaving their silks for those beautiful saris, for the very finest clothes in all of Bengal. When the Raja and the Rani, that's the king and the queen, came to visit, they found the streets covered in silk and were met by cheering crowds. Jamil and his wife welcomed them into their home. "Did I not tell you the truth?" said Jamil's clever cat. "My master is the richest man in the world." And there's the beautiful house that they've managed to build by being such amazing weavers. And there's Saddle, the clever cat. And I think that's the end of our story today. Oh, there's their garden. Look where they live. How beautiful. Which other folk tale does that remind you of, or fairy tale you might call them? Have a little think. Where an animal basically tricks somebody else into thinking that its master is really rich. It reminds me of Puss in Boots. It's a similar tale, isn't it? But lovely, and lovely to have a story filled with pictures of India and of those beautiful saris. Just keep looking at that material. It's gorgeous, isn't it? So I'll speak with Mrs. Jennings and see if she's got anything that she can bring in that will help us on our going on a bit of a trip to India, aren't we, this week? So I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, with more interesting facts and things to share all about the country of India. So have a really good day, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.